and good afternoon, everyone. Of course, my name is Francis Tarasiewicz, and I'm joined today by a special guest. He's got a bit of a frown on his face, but Nimbus is here for the weekend Facebook or live forecast. So we're going to cover that. Let me get my tongue here. Of course, cover the higher summits forecasts, and we've got a pretty interesting week of weather behind us, as well as an interesting weekend of weather ahead of us. We also do have a couple of events that we want to focus on. Namely the Auto Roads foot race, which will be taking place tomorrow morning from about 8 or so until noon. So for very important forecast there. But for now, well, Nimbus just went off camera. He's currently a little loaf down below me. For now, I want to promote a little bit of our upcoming Seek the Peak event. Of course, we've got the 24th annual Seek the Peak Hike-a-thon. It's a donation drive for us up here on the summit to help fund our research, our observations, and educational programs. Of course, find your own peak. It doesn't necessarily have to be Mount Washington. Gather your team if you'd like. We do corporate teams as well as families and individuals. And have folks raise money in favor of your hike and for the observatory's long-term records, as well as our, again, research and forecasting expertise. And we ended all with a nice big Apres Expo now down at the base of Mount Washington, of course, sponsored by the Mount Washington Honor Room and the Great Glen House. That happens on July 20th. There'll be a lot of cool things going on there, lots of great prizes, live music, beer garden, and much, much more. Again, July 20th will be sort of the final day of our Seek the Peak hike-a-thon there. Try to get out of this view. Carl, if you don't mind clicking out of that view for me. Of course, we've got a lot of cool weather to talk about. There we all just close right on into that. Thank you. And so again, we're doing fairly well. We're at $76,000. So I want to thank everyone who has thanked money for the observatory and our operations up here. We do greatly appreciate it. As do the 90 years worth of records and legacy of this mountain and the hard work of the past and current observers. So again, thank you all so much. But I want to move on now because there's a lot of interesting weather to talk about at the moment. We've got a lot of thunderstorms, of course, in the area, but we'll start here on the summit of Mount Washington right now. Pretty interesting day so far. We've had a maximum gust of 75 miles per hour over the last day. That actually occurred last night. We've got a cold front that's been approaching the area. So that pressure gradient, we're going to move Nimbus out of the way here a little bit. So that pressure gradient associated with that cold front has resulted in elevated winds. And the cold front itself is actually right on our doorstep right now. So the winds are a little bit lighter than they've been throughout the day. We're down to about 32.2 miles per hour or so. We had a gust up to about 56 miles per hour earlier this morning. And temperatures today, quite cool for just about anyone in the month of June. Of course, you don't think of 49.8 degrees being warm for the month of June. But up here on the summit, we're starting to get to that summertime peak where our average temperature is right around 50 degrees or so. Down at the base of the Auto Road, we're around 76 or 75 degrees or so, so about a 20 degree or so temperature difference. And the visibility right now less than a 16th of a mile. And this temperature difference between the base of the Auto Road and the summit is quite important. There's quite a bit of instability out there, and that's what's fueling a lot of the thunderstorms that have affected many of us in the Northeast, including up here on the summit of Mount Washington. Well, it wasn't quite a thunderstorm, but it was a thunder shower that was getting developed and then sort of fell apart as it hit the terrain of the White Mountains, which can sometimes happen up here on the summit. Show you all a live view from our deck cam here. Not very exciting. We've got a lot of fog out there, and typically I'd go ahead and show a time lapse of the day, but you'd be seeing a lot of the same here, but a very foggy day, very dreary day up here on the summit, again with those scattered showers and thunderstorms, at least in the distance. We'll see if we can maybe get lucky up here on the summit over the next few hours and maybe see a couple of those thunderstorms visit us up here. But taking a look now at the long loop, this is our visible satellite. You're looking here at the northeastern United States. We've got New Hampshire here, of course, in the center, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, and New York, Pennsylvania. Helping you to get your bearings there on our map that we're looking at. We're looking at, again, visible satellites. So we're seeing what the satellite's seeing in terms of cloud coverage. And today's been a really cool day. If you like watching clouds, so I'll pull out my marker here. And I want to highlight a few things, but first we'll put this into motion. So you can see this morning we had a low bank of clouds, and since it's cleared out, you've had a lot of heating, right? Heating allowed for clouds to bubble up and form into large thunderstorms. So I'll stop this animation back a few hours ago here. As you can see, you had that clearing, and as soon as the clearing, here we go, kind of going here. All right. So you can see earlier today you had a lot of these clouds to the south, and those actually kept the atmosphere relatively stable. It inhibited the convection, we call it. And then behind it here, choose a different color, you saw a lot of clearing. And as soon as that clearing occurred, if you look really closely, you see a lot of those small dotted clouds. Those are cumulus clouds, and those cumulus clouds, again, congealed into larger thunderstorms, which are now affecting the area of New England. So we'll take a look at that loop one more time because I think it's pretty mesmerizing there. You can see again that clearing started and those clouds begin to bubble up and form into very large thunderstorms, which again are ongoing. We'll take a look now in upper levels. We're looking at the amount of water vapor in the air, how much moisture is in the air. But what we look for are the areas of blue and sort of gray, indicating areas where there's more moisture. Areas of yellow show, less in the way of moisture. So we have what's called an upper level trough or an upper level area of disturbed weather. Typically have some moist air ahead of an area of much drier air, and that's exactly what's happened here. So this trough has served as a sort of trigger, a kick for thunderstorms to get going. And so you'll see as it's made its way through New England, it's kicked out a lot of those high clouds. And again, we had ample opportunity for the surface to get nice and warm, things to get nice and unstable, and for thunderstorms and showers to develop. So where are those thunderstorms right now? We've got them on the National Weather Service radar here. There's a few clusters of note, one up here in northern Maine. This is after a separate line actually went through a little bit earlier. Some severe thunderstorms, one near Augusta or so, and then there's been a few actually in Baxter State Park. On the Katahdin webcam, you could actually see a severe thunderstorm move through about a couple of hours ago. That was pretty cool to see earlier today. And then looking further south, this is near the eastern Massachusetts area, portions south and east of Worcester. Boston, you did have a severe thunderstorm a little bit earlier today. Then even further south, we've got another line developing. But this is really the cold front that's going to push through. It may trigger a few more scattered, strong and severe thunderstorms in the North Country, but once it moves through, the activity should start to wind down. We should be left with just upslope rain showers for the higher summits of New Hampshire. We'll take a look now at how and see how the precipitation is going to unfold over the next 48 hours or so. Of course, everyone wants to know about what's going to happen with the foot race. Are we going to see favorable weather conditions for the race? And so without further ado, let's take a look here at the forecasted radar. So you can see the North American mesoscale model here, showing the chance for one final sort of hurrah as that cold front moves through and triggers the last line of showers and thunderstorms. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So you can see some of those developing across portions of central New Hampshire as well as southeastern Maine. And that line will tend to sort of gather up and strengthen. Again, sort of a last hurrah of this cold front as it moves out. And then everyone will start to clear out as we start to lose that daytime instability overnight tonight. We'll see by midnight or so, most of that shower and thunderstorm activity is pushed offshore. Saturday morning, we've got fairly clear conditions. We'll see some lingering showers along the coast. And up here in the White Mountains area, we'll see lingering upslopes, showers, and drizzle. But there is some good news. We've got some clearing behind that eventually. And we'll see actually drier air build in throughout the day on Saturday. We've got a very large area of high pressure that's going to be pushing in from the northwest. But in terms of racing conditions, we're looking at a drizzly, sort of dreary start. Temperatures will be only in the upper 30s as that cold front passes through. And again, race starts around 8:30 or so. We're expecting mostly cloudy skies and maybe some fog up here on the summit. But as the race progresses, we'll see those clouds start to diminish and eventually break apart. It'll still be quite cold for the duration of the race. We're only expecting temperatures to rise up in the upper 30s or so. But we'll talk about temperature a bit more in just a little bit. Get a little carried away there. We'll see again, mainly clear skies, at least precipitation-wise, all the way through most of the day on Sunday. We've got a sneaky disturbance sort of riding up and around the ridge of high pressure. And that's going to start to affect the region later Sunday into Sunday night, and maybe start the work week off in a bit of a soggy note up here on the higher summits. Taking a look at temperatures, of course, is another very important variable we're looking at up here on the summit. Find the cold front. It's right about here. Again, it's just to our north and west now. Warm air to the south of it, much cooler air, unseasonably cold air to the north and west of it. So we'll move the clock ahead forward. You can see that cold front sort of diving south very quickly. It's going to quickly follow those showers and thunderstorms as it begins to wane down. And you can see by around midnight or so, temperatures are already falling well into the upper and middle 40s. Even lower as we get closer to the Saturday morning time frame. We'll see temperatures fall even further down to around 39 to 35 or so by Saturday morning. It'll be quite cold again, drizzly. It'll feel really cold, so you want to bundle up. You want to be prepared for winter-like conditions up here on the summits. And as we make our way through the day Saturday, not a whole lot of improvement. Of course, we've got the highest sun angle of the year, but with the summits, it can be really hard to warm up the higher terrains. We are above that boundary layer, and so we don't really feel the effects of surface warming as readily as, say, someone in the valley. So temperatures may stay fairly stationary through the middle 30s, perhaps even lower 30s in some isolated pockets up here in elevation. And we'll see those temperatures moderate somewhat tomorrow night, ironically enough, as high pressure really starts to build in. This is going towards Sunday morning, and temperatures will, eventually crack the 40-degree mark by Sunday and rise back up into the mid-40s. So wind chills won't be as big of a concern as well. And speaking of wind, let's take a quick look at the wind speed forecast for the next 48 hours. So I'll come back on this side so we can all see what exactly I'm talking about here. And so right now I've got that strong westerly wind. And as that front passes through, it's demarcated here by that shift in winds. So from the west to more of a northwesterly direction, we'll see, again, a shift to the northwest and an increase in winds overnight. So you can see some of those greens popping up here between 25 and 40 miles per hour or so. Maybe a bit of a lull as the actual front itself passes overhead, but then we'll ramp things back up. That's because we'll ramp things back up for the day Saturday. That's because we've got high pressure approaching from the west and lingering low pressure well to the east. So we'll be stuck in that sort of squeeze play, that gradient zone up here on the White Mountains. And so we'll continue to clock here going forward. Northwesterly winds continuing throughout the day on Saturday. They'll be fairly consistent. You'll have to wait till Saturday night until they actually start to decrease a little bit. So here we move the clock forward to Saturday night. You can start to see some of those greens and oranges begin to disappear, those more elevated winds up here on the summit. Moving ahead into Sunday, see the center of the high there, nice calm winds, nice clockwise flow as well around that feature. And that'll bring us clearing skies and a pretty decent day Sunday. We'll start to see some high clouds move in as that disturbance moves in, but it'll still remain well to our west through the day on Sunday. So again, Sunday, pretty much the pick of the weekend if I were to give my favorite day a name there. You can see that ridge cresting right overhead Sunday afternoon, so we'll be under high pressure. But again, cloud cover will increase during the day with that disturbance well off to the west. So we'll break it down here with the daily details. For tonight, we'll be in the clouds with those rain showers continuing. We could see some heavy rainfall as well and some thunderstorms, and any thunderstorms that do form may be capable of producing some damaging hail as well as strong winds as well, and frequent lightning. Temperatures will be falling pretty quickly into the middle 30s, and winds will be from the west, shifting to the northwest at 15 to 30 miles per hour, increasing to 30 to 45 miles per hour, and we will see higher gusts with any thunderstorm activity. So keep an eye on that as well. Temperatures, or I should say wind chill temperatures, will fall back to 20 to 30 above, especially getting closer to Saturday morning. And speaking of the day on Saturday, we'll start in the clouds. We'll see morning drizzle and then gradual clearing under mostly clear skies by the afternoon, the later part of the morning into the afternoon. Temperatures will rise back up into the mid-30s, and winds will be from the northwest, shifting to the north at 30 to 45 miles per hour, with gusts up to 55 miles per hour. And notice there's no language after that. We're not expecting it to decrease. So Saturday is going to be a pretty breezy and cool day. We'll see temperatures fall back, or wind chill. Keep making this mistake here. Wind chill temperatures will fall back to 20 to 30 above. So you want to be prepared for winter-like conditions up here on the summit. And Saturday night, we finally clear out. We finally have that high pressure that starts to build in and actually mix down some dry air closer to summit level. So we'll see we'll see mostly clear skies, mostly clear conditions on the summit under mostly clear skies. We should actually see some stars appear, which will be pretty nice tomorrow night. Low temperatures will fall back into the lower 30s. Winds will be from the north at 30 to 45 miles per hour. Gusting up to 55 miles per hour before midnight. And then after midnight, we'll see them gradually decrease to 15 to 30 miles per hour. And wind chill values will be their coldest Saturday night, 15 to 25 above zero. And finally, for the day Sunday, we'll be in the clear under increasingly cloudy skies. And that weak disturbance is going to start pushing some upper level clouds in our direction. Temperatures will rise back up again to mid-40s, and winds will be from the northwest at 15 to 30 miles per hour, shifting more westerly during the afternoon. And wind chill values will start the day pretty chilly, 20 to 30 above, and then rise throughout the day. And so he's just off camera here. I wish you could all see him. Maybe. Nah, I don't want to lift him. I don't bug him too much. But again, just want to say, Nimbus and I thank you all so very much for watching the latest edition of the Higher Summits Forecast. And again, you can find the latest Mount Washington Higher Summits Forecast at mountwashington.org/forecast. And with that, I want to wish you all a happy and healthy weekend. And again, thank you all for watching. Thank you.